Welcome to the Christian Business Advantage Podcast, the podcast for Christian authors, speakers, coaches, and virtual assistants. I'm your host, longtime virtual assistant, author, and speaker, Alicia Avant. On this podcast, we'll talk about how to build an online presence through email marketing, social media marketing, content repurposing, and building and maintaining your website. After serving Christian authors and speakers for over a decade, I have learned a great deal about their greatest needs, and it continues to be a privilege to serve them. Welcome to the podcast. Last week, we talked about the biggest mistakes that authors make building their content on borrowed platforms. And that episode got you thinking, or maybe even a little uncomfortable. This one is going to give you some clarity because today we're talking about what you should own instead and why it matters more now than it ever has before. This is part of our series, Don't Build on Borrowed Land, Smarter Content Strategies for Authors. And today is about building your foundation. If you want long-term growth, you have to build an asset that you own. Your website is the one place online that you build that is completely yours. For your website, you control the content, the layout, the messaging, the experience. No algorithm decides what people see or don't see. Your website isn't just a place to have one page up. It is your content hub, your authority builder, and the central location that everything else points back to. Every piece of content you create should ultimately lead people back to your website. I've been building on my website since 2007, and that consistency has compounded over time. Blog posts that I wrote years ago can still bring me traffic today. That's the difference between content that disappears and content that builds. If your website is your home, think about your email list as your direct line of communication. With email, you own your list, you can reach your audience anytime, and you're not relying on an algorithm. And most importantly, these are the people who have actually chosen to hear from you. Followers are borrowed. Subscribers, you own. You can have thousands of followers and still struggle to sell a book, but a smaller, engaged email list, that is where connection and conversion actually happens. And that is where most authors miss an opportunity. That is where your content library equals long-term growth. So what does that mean exactly? Well, think about it like this. When you create blog posts or podcast episodes or any form of long-form content, you're not just posting, you're building like a library of resources for your people that visit your site. So a content library builds authority over time. It gives people multiple entry points to find you, and it works for you long after you hit publish. This is how your content starts to compound instead of just disappear. So SEO versus short-term visibility. This is a key mindset shift that you have to think about. Social media only gives you quick exposure, fast feedback, but a short lifetime span. A post might last 24 to 48 hours, if that, because you know how fast the algorithm changes. But long-term visibility, or SEO, search-based content like your blog post give you ongoing traffic, discoverability over time, and evergreen growth. So social media is fast, but SEO is long-lasting. So when your content lives on your website and it's optimized to be found, you're not starting out new every day. You're building something that grows with you. So this should be your core foundation. Your website plus your email list equals your business's foundation. Everything else, social media, Substack, platforms, should support these things, not replace them. So I want you to do a check of yourself. If you don't have a consistent place that your content lives and a way to capture and nurture your audience, then all your effort is going into just visibility, not sustainability or stability. So next week, we're going to talk about how platforms like Substack and social media fit into this and how to use them strategically without losing control of your audience. And if you've been listening to this and thinking, I know I need this, but I'm not sure how to set it up, I have created a free resource for you, and it breaks it down into a simple step-by-step system that you can actually use. You can find that at aliciaavandandcompany.com/author. You don't need to be everywhere. You just need to be intentional about what you're building and where you're building it. Because when you build something that you actually own, your content doesn't just get seen, it starts to work for you. And that way you continue to benefit from the content that you build. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And I thank you for listening to this episode, and I'll meet you back here next week.